Hi, I'm June Williamson, the Happy Thai Girl. Today on Cooking Made Easy with June, we're making Italian Parmesan meatballs. Italian food is always a favorite and this dish won't disappoint. You will love it. That's coming right up on Cooking Made Easy with June. All right, we're making Italian Parmesan meatballs. So easy. I'm so excited to show you how we can make this quick meal. I would dare say 30 minutes or less. So what I'd like to do is to start with boiling the water, because usually it takes a little bit longer. And what helps boil it a little faster is salt. So I'm just gonna put a little salt in there, and it also flavors the noodles. So about a tablespoon or a teaspoon of salt. And I also like to add a little bit of olive oil, then it won't stick, and it also adds flavor. So I'm gonna do that and cover it and let it go in there, get going. Okay, so now meatballs, you could do the all beef, but I love that mixture of the sausage, Italian sausage, and ground beef. And Macy's had a great sale. It was really cheap, $2.50 a pound for this Angus fresh meat. So I'm going to, all you're gonna do is we're gonna dump everything together. So this is what I love about cooking, the things that I dump together. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put in all the Italian sausage and the beef. And then we're going to add the 2 eggs. Some people like to use breadcrumbs, but I like eggs because I usually have eggs and I don't always have breadcrumbs. And also it seems to keeps the meatballs more moist than if you use breadcrumbs. It seems to be a little bit more dry and inconsistent. So I just crack the 2 eggs in there. Of course you can crack it in a different bowl so you won't get shells in there, but okay. So we have the 2 eggs, and then we just need the Parmesan cheese. I love to get just a bag of frozen cheese. Is so good frozen, so you always have it ready. So about a half a cup. So I'm just gonna guess right there. That's about a half a cup, and a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of. So that's about a teaspoon of salt, and black pepper, ground black pepper. So I'm gonna eye it there a little bit because I didn't bring out my measuring spoons. It all will turn out well. Okay, and then garlic powder. Garlic powder. Now, somebody told me a story about, I can't remember, maybe it was one of the cameramen, I can't remember. Let me see here, a teaspoon. So anyways, they dehydrate their own garlic. And she says it's amazing. I wish I could get a hand on those dehydrated fresh garlic, because that would be awesome to have always on hand. And then we have the onion powder. And now I've also used fresh chopped onions, but I have a son who does not like the texture of cooked onions. So I use onion powder. All right, and then that's it, So now we're just gonna mix it together and form the meatball. So let's see. Have the notch in there. So these meatballs are awesome. Oh, okay, you gotta get a good workout there to get that in there. Okay, so I'm gonna turn that on low at first so everything doesn't splatter. Slowly and then higher. Now these meatballs are awesome because have you guys ever bought those frozen meatballs from the store and then you just put, I heard they were good, but if you make your own fresh meatballs and then you can freeze them yourself would be even better. And it would taste better. You know all the ingredients that are in there and less preservatives. Or no preservatives really, unless it's in the Italian sausage. Okay, so all you do is mix it quickly like that to make sure everything goes in there. Or if you don't want to use the electric mixer, you can always use your hands, and that's really fun too. Get your hands all messy. Okay, I'm just gonna take all that apart and get all the meat out. Let me find, I'm gonna take this over here and I'm going to get my scooper, so I'll be right back here. This is about 2.5 tablespoons But of course, you don't have to use a scooper. But then what I like to do is I like to scoop them out here onto a plate, a separate plate. And then I'm going to put them into balls. Now I've heard, we had one episode with elk meat. I bet that would be so yummy to have the elk meat mixed with the Italian sausage, or you could use like a variety of meats. I've seen on the Food Network where they just they make all kinds of meatballs. In fact, there's a company, a restaurant in New York, I believe. I think it was on a show. I can't remember what show it was on, but that's all they did. I think it was Rachel Ray, and they all they did was make all kinds of meatballs with different types of mixtures, and so that's an option. And I dare say, with all the gaming going on around here in Utah, Spanish Fork, you could try a mixture of everything, like the less fatty meats with the more fatty meats and etc. But the nice thing, so that's the thing about it. The nice thing about meatballs is that you honestly can't fail, because if it turns out bland or dry, you can just add your sauce that you want and that'll fix it all. And then your sauce, which is the boss, you can make all kinds of sauce to go with it. And that was that restaurant that I was telling you about. They just made all kinds of sauces, and that made it so unique and good. Okay, so I'm trying not to waste any meat, so I'm going to grab all of the meat. And so they're not going to all be exactly perfectly the same shape. And so now I'm just going to turn the heat on high on your pan. What we're going to do is we're going to brown it. So you just take each ball that you separated and just kind of like make it into a more dense ball so that it doesn't fall apart easily. Now when I'm in a hurry, what I've done before is I've just scooped it and stuck it in there, and it still turned out fine, but it was, easier. It would break more easily. So I'm just going to add that on there. And it's not sizzling because the pan's not hot yet, but it's okay because I have a non-stick pan. Now, if you don't have a non-stick pan, you could just spray or add a little bit of oil and kind of rub it on there. But the meatball, it has a fat content in it. This is like an 80% lean Angus beef, but the 90% lean also works well. But in the sausage, there's some fat that doesn't, that will help it from sticking the pan. So you either lightly do that, or you can have a non-stick pan. So now it's starting to sizzle. Another option of meatballs that I've seen is, well, I think it was Adam that told me this. He sticks cheese in it. I've seen stuffed meatballs, and I guess you could, at this point, you could break it in half and put all kinds of things in it. I've seen meatballs cooked in a muffin pan, where you put a little meat in the bottom, and then you put your something in the middle, and then you put the topping on it, and then you bake it. That's the funny thing, a lot of people, they just make the meatballs and they bake it. But I like mine to add a texture. I like to brown it, and this is what I'm doing here in the pan. And also, I didn't want to mess up a lot of dishes either. So that looks awesome. And it's okay if they stick together because it'll just start shrinking. So I'll move that over here and wash my hands a minute. All right, so my water's boiling. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit because I love to use angel hair pasta because it's only a 3-minute cook, so I'm not gonna put that in right yet. So I'm gonna let this go in here. Oh no, I'm not gonna cover it yet. Okay, so it's gonna brown first. So you can hear it sizzling, and look, it's already kind of browning on that one side. So I'm just gonna turn that over. You could go, how you just turn it over on this side, or you can go either way. You can brown on all sides if you like. So cooking is relaxing to me. If I wasn't on camera, I would just sit here and watch it sizzle, and then I would just think about what I need to do, and it's really relaxing for me. In fact, I think cooking is a therapy for a lot of people. In fact, just the other day, my sister-in-law brought home some yummy cupcakes from this, I think it's called Cravings, and And they were delicious. And in fact, I might try to have her, she's a local, have her on the show one day. But anyways, she wrote on there in her blog that she has depression, and so making cupcakes and decorating it is like her therapy. And I think that's awesome. So for me, this is therapy. Even though I have a hard day at school, all the lovely, lovely, lovely children whom I love, but would love to be more stern to, I come home, and if I start cooking, I'm just so weird about that. You know how people say you emotional eat? Well, I emotionally cook. Sometimes if I'm emotional, I won't cook at all, or I really cook a lot. I don't know. So a lot of these activities can be therapeutic. So it doesn't take long to cook, and so I just went ahead and keep turning it around like this. So to make it all brown. Oh, that looks so good, and I love to hear that sizzle. Maybe I'll just be quiet for a minute and let you guys listen to the sizzle. I wish you guys could smell it. It smells amazing. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cover this up. Let me brown it a little bit more here on this side. Now, some people just like, at this point, some people like to just finish it in the oven. But I don't want to turn on the oven and I'll do all that stuff. And this works just as great. So let me turn this over, all these ones over, and get it pretty much brown all over the place and all sides. Okay, that's that. It's almost there. And I'm keeping them in the middle. Oh, look at that brown. That's yummy. So now when we're finishing the cooking on the inside, it will continue to brown on the other side also. Okay, one more. I think that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna cover this up, and then we let it simmer and finish cooking for about 8 to 10 minutes, depending on your stove. I'm gonna turn it down though to about medium heat. And I'm going to go ahead and add my angel hair pasta. I love the angel hair pasta because it's like 3 minutes to cook, and I love the little thin noodle texture. And of course, you know, you like the fettuccine, the flat white ones, but this is gonna be awesome. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add that and let that start cooking. Push it down a little bit. So when you put that in there, let it soften, and then you push it down, because you don't want to break. I don't like the too many little pieces. Okay. All right, we're going to take a little break. When we get back, we're going to have some pasta, and the meatballs will probably be almost finished, and I'm going to start a really easy sauce, so don't go away. All right, so the pasta is already quickly finished. So Giada and Bobby Flay told me that they don't drain their pasta. They love to just take it out so that some of the pasta juice is in there. So this is what I've been doing, and it's great. So I'm gonna take out as much pasta as I can from there, and that looks so good. I love it. Such a comfort food, and look at all that steam coming out there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to move this pot over. Okay, whoa, accident. Oh my goodness. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna move this over to this stove. Let the meatballs to continue to cook for a few more minutes and on medium-low, because you've noticed that I turn it on high for a little bit, but then it kind of got really brown. So I'm gonna move it around a little bit and let it simmer a little bit longer on medium-low so it doesn't get much browner. And we're going to start the sauce. And sometimes when I am in a hurry, sometimes I'll make fresh sauce, but I love tweaking things that are already made so we don't have to simmer it for day and night. So I just grab any bottled sauce, and I just put it in there. Now the secret is to add some fresh ingredients. So we have that, and I love to have on hand either fresh basil, which I don't have any fresh basil today, and fresh garlic, or I love this basil pesto that has garlic and olive oil on it. So I'm gonna add a couple teaspoons. It's not really a recipe. I mean, if you love it, add more. If you don't, then don't. And I'm going to add that, and I like to add some fresh tomatoes, kind of like cheating a little bit to make it look kind of fresh. So let me turn this on a little bit higher. Turn the meatballs down, turn the sauce up. And I'm just gonna cut these little tomatoes just in half, that's all. Oh my goodness, let's see. Cut these in half. Oh, okay, let me get a smaller knife. It's not. Just gonna cut the tomatoes in half. There we go. It doesn't have to be any way, although I like it lengthwise. So we're just gonna cut a few fresh tomatoes to add into the sauce. Can you guys still hear the sizzling of the meatballs there on low? Okay, so we're adding some fresh tomatoes, about, I would say about a cup or 3/4 cup. So that has that, and let's see, let's add a little salt and pepper. Oh, actually, the secret, I love a little sweet and salty and all this stuff, so that's kind of the Thai in me. So I actually like to add a little sugar, about 2 teaspoons of sugar into about a bottle of sauce. But of course, if you like it sweeter, you can add some more. And it's already starting to warm up. So, I'm gonna stir my sauce a little bit, and that's all you do. Okay, so I'm gonna stir that, and I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil. I feel like it's a little dry. Okay. Now I'm going to put a lid on it. Let's see, I'll put my other lid. And let it, turn it up high and let it, I'm not really gonna let it simmer for a long time. I'm just gonna warm it up. And the tomatoes are still gonna be a little firm, but it's gonna be so yummy. Okay, let's check our meatballs. While that's warming up. Ah! Okay, so at this point, the meatball should be finished. And see how dark the bottom, even though it was simmering on low, it was cooking it. But I'm going to check the middle because I'm so paranoid about uncooked meat. And it should be done, and there it is. Well, nearly. Okay, so it's nearly done, but so I'm gonna let it simmer for a couple more minutes. Let me check another one. Yeah, so that wasn't quite 8 minutes, so almost there. Almost there. Every time almost there reminds me of Prince and the Frog. What's it called? I can't remember what the movie's called. But you know, the Princess and the Frog, and they're singing, and I love the music, the jazzy music in that movie. Okay, so this is coming right along. Now, oh, there we go. Look at that. It's just simmering along the edges, and I'm gonna let it go ahead and simmer. I'm gonna chop some Italian parsley so we can kind of garnish it with Italian parsley. I'm gonna chop a little bit. See, you could make this like in less than 30 minutes. You really time it. And no foreign ingredients. All right. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the meatballs on a little bit lower to make it cook. Okay, I'll tell you what, we're gonna take a quick little break, and when we get back, I'm going to plate it and we're going to eat it and taste it. So just to make sure the meatballs get finished. Okay, so don't go away. All right, I'm plating this up for my go-to taster when I don't have a guest. It's Spencer. Come on in, Spencer. I'm sure he hates this job so much.
Oh my gosh, I gotta taste all this delicious food.
So I'm gonna put a little bit of Parmesan in there and a little bit of parsley, Italian parsley, and you can start saucing this. I'll switch places with you.
Now, when you say start saucing this, what does that mean?
Saucing it, adding the sauce.
So do I just like?
No, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Have you ever seen Lady and the Tramp? Is that too old for you?
No,
You don't remember they eat the spaghetti? You're supposed to slurp the noodles. I'm just kidding. Well, your wife is not here. You can't do that.
No, yeah.
Yeah, you just twirl it and go for it.
Okay, all right, twirl it on the fork.
I'll just put the meatballs on here.
I remember that from hoity-toity class. All right, let me see.
You had a hoity-toity class. Eat it!
Oh,
You have to say it's good, even though if you may not love
it
it.
is good. It is delicious.
Did you taste the meatballs? Do you love them?
No.
Taste the meatball. Cut
yeah,
a bite
yeah.
into that meatball.
Okay.
So here I'm plating, and this is how you can serve it up to your family. Just make a
Okay.
big old plate.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's
Yeah,
such a good idea.
look at that. Woo.
I mean,
And
why
then they
not?
can just dig in. There you go. They're going to say, Mom, Dad, look at this gourmet dish.
So what did you
They'll
put
go,
in the sauce?
wow. So it's just a can.
it's very sweet, and that's really good.
Okay, I added a couple teaspoons of sugar into the sauce, but you can also use some monk sugar or whatever, or you don't have to add sugar, but I love that little bit of difference in it, you know what I mean? So you want a little bit more parsley? You want some more sauce? What do you want? Eat up, eat up. See, this is my favorite part. It's when you eat like my favorite.
Yeah, you just,
So you guys make this. It's so easy. You see that I make the meatballs, and again, you can freeze the meatballs, you can add different sauces, barbecue, and everything like that. So watch the show over and over. It takes you 30 minutes. Get the ingredients at Macy's. They're awesome. Everything's there at Macy's. And make a delicious meal for your family in less than 30 minutes. So for the next episode, come back and happy cooking.